What's going on, guys? My name's Kyle Solgar. Welcome back to the channel. As promised, we have an ecom goat right here, Faiz Warsani, who's killed it.
Insert a goat.
Yeah, somewhere. Let's throw that up.
I wouldn't call myself the goat yet. But,
not the goat, but
working towards it.
A goat. Yeah, no, for sure. Faiz is somebody I met really early in my e-commerce journey, and I figured he'd be a great person to bring on. Kind of talk about how things are constantly evolving, how dropshipping is practically dead, and what he's done in the meantime, and talk a little bit about his brand. Now, we obviously have talked about this on our podcast before, but we're gonna make it a little shorter for you guys today, and kind of do a little synopsis and go over some of the key points.
And this is good, especially if you are a beginner in the space and you want to hear kind of the outlook on how things are going. Because I know for a fact that when I was a beginner, I would have loved to have someone just tell me straight up how it's going to go for the next few years. And given my experience and his experience too, I feel like we have a good general idea of where the space is going. And take this with a grain of salt. This is just my opinion. This is his opinion.
Yeah.
You don't have to do what we're telling. We don't have to do. You don't have to do what we're telling you to do. No one's holding a gun to your head and telling you to do that. 100%. Even in one of the videos that I just made about why dropshipping is dead, so many people are very heavily opinionated.
Yeah.
And I was just chill. This is literally my view on it.
Yeah.
And it's pretty much the same thing now. So let's get into it.
Yeah, so getting right into it, we obviously went over previously what dropshipping is and stuff like that. And I know you should check out Faiz's recent video on, dropshipping and how it's essentially dead at this point. People have their mixed opinions on it. However, things just happen. Some people also say Facebook ads are dead, and it's up to you. Gary Vaynerchuk says that.
I remember someone told me, literally in 2017. This is when I was just starting dropshipping, literally a complete beginner. Met up with him in some Chicago apartment because I was taking photos of him or whatever. Because this is back when I was doing content.
Yeah.
I still remember those days. I really hustled in the beginning days. Kyle does the same thing.
Yeah.
We started off with photography and videography and stuff like that, and literally I remember shooting content for other ecom people, and now the roles are completely reversed in just 2-3 years. But anyways, this person told me that dropshipping was dead. You should not dropship. You should not do it anymore. It's not gonna work. You won't make money. I don't know why he was so heavily discouraging me from doing it. Maybe he just felt a little bit threatened or whatever. Could be. I don't know. But yeah. Wasn't dead because literally a month or two after I was pulling $10,000 days as a complete beginner. So dropshipping is not dead right now. The business model still works, but it's just the way that things are done now are going to be a lot more different because of the standards set by some of these really beautiful brands. It just makes it harder for a consumer to want to purchase from an ugly looking store, a generic looking store. And really, it just puts you in a very bad, low-level position because your conversions are going to be a lot lower. Your ad spend's going to be higher. You're just going to overall suffer, and I don't want you to go through that. So here are some tips on how you can stay ahead of the curve in 2020 going into 2021. So let's start throwing the tips up here.
Yeah, let's get into it. So tip number one, I think, is just establishing a real brand. Now, as Faiz said, somebody told him that dropshipping was dead, and we could be those people telling you that, hey, it is. But the reason that we're saying that is because we want to set you up for success, right? Yeah. The problem is, as every day and year goes by, it's easier and easier for people to repackage products and sell them via Amazon. And the only way that you can really combat that is by having a brand that people are going to buy. And as search starts to go away and things are dictated by voice and opinions, it's kind of you're only going to be able to rely on what people feel and how your brand makes them kind of peer-to-peer feel and what they tell their friends, etc. So building in a big and a beautiful brand is number one, and then Faiz can kind of go over some of the key points of building an actual brand.
Yeah, so one would obviously be a nice logo / website because those are very important. Those are going to be the first things that people really see. The second thing is the content. Your content should be user-generated content is one of the biggest things right now in the direct-to-consumer space. I know personally I'm investing a lot of money into UGC campaigns for my own brand. So that's just people, influencers or just regular customers recording video of them using your product and giving a little testimonial. Those kinds of creatives are gonna work super, super well, especially 3D renders, very good product photography, hiring a product photographer to take photos of your product and just set up everything. I guess that's really it for content, and then I guess I don't have like 5 things. I'd probably like name 3 things, maybe 4 things. But the third thing would be what's the third thing? Hold on, I'm just remembering it. The third thing, your product should actually be a good product. Because if you're drop shipping like a shitty tech item, trust me, it's going to bite you in the ass and you're going to get a lot of chargebacks and customers are just not going to be happy with you. You need to make sure that your product quality is pretty much top of the line, like the best in your space.
Yeah.
Because if not, like again, it's just setting yourself up for failure and I don't want that for you guys.
Yeah.
Because I've been through it, he's been through it. Like you don't want to have a shitty product. Fourth and final thing, I guess, is having really strong customer service. Now, immediately whenever I started Sweet Dreams, I hired a full-on customer team, literally for Instagram DMs, for Facebook Messenger, for emails, for phone support as well. You really have to invest into the back-end experience of your stores because it's one of those things that's just kind of overlooked, and it's one of the key pillars in building a business. You need to have strong customer service. You need to have, quick shipping times as well.
Yeah.
You need to just have someone to respond to these inquiries, or else if the inquiry goes unanswered, then guess what? Karen is going to go to Trustpilot. Karen is going to call up BBB.
Yep.
Karen is going to call up your local attorney or whatever and file a class action lawsuit.
Yeah.
You don't want that. You don't want that to happen.
100%.
So gotta have good customer service.
Yeah, everything.
That's pretty much it from my
No,
side.
yeah, I think obviously like that is everything you need to run a successful e-commerce business.
Yeah, I can't believe I just dropped that much value.
Right?
That's the first time I've ever dropped value on YouTube.
No. But like the importance of what he's saying, in my opinion, is the fact that like you got to realize why it makes sense, right? Like the reason you need people and customer service is because you might think like, oh, like my product's going to be delayed, and communication, especially in 2020, is huge. If you're not transparent and communicating with the customer, you're screwed. And even when it comes down to the actual customer receiving an item, if they receive an item and they're just ghosted, they don't have instructions on how to use it, maybe they got the wrong item, maybe they got the wrong whatever. If they don't get that sense of communication, you're literally screwed as a company and a brand, and you might think it'll just scale.
They'll just want to charge back, and they just won't even want to be a part of it. They'll get their Facebook feedback thing to give a survey or whatever. They're going to give you bad ratings, and your page transparency score is going to go down in return, and then you won't be able to advertise. So
everything scales.
Having those foundations, you need to have that to scale, or else you're screwed.
Yeah. And like we talked about before, scale is important because that's really only profit is. You factor in product costs, shipping, advertising costs, and you have run really lean. But the problem is anything at scale, you scale not only the good, you scale the bad. So you increase defect rates, you increase, problems with people who maybe are having a bad day, which you can't read them. You have to deal with whatever it is. So, and if you refund somebody, then you have to give them the money back, obviously.
Customer is always right.
Exactly. There's really no way around it. And now we're getting really to that point where, obviously, look at Amazon, right? They have a no questions asked refund policy. Obviously, they can absorb those costs. So whatever your business is, you have to really make sure that people are just happy as can be, because obviously customers are the best form of advertising, and they can tear you down as quickly as they can build you up.
Exactly.
So that's a huge thing. So not only just being able to acquire the customer, but it's everything else behind that and how it just trickles down if you do decide to make a bunch of mistakes.
So branding is the number one thing, I guess, that's most important. Now, number 2?
I think, as a whole, so branding, content, and customer service, right? Like the way people feel about your brand. But then we can talk about distribution as a separate aspect, right? Okay. Because I think people don't get this they kind of get it twisted, right? Especially with dropshippers coming in and not knowing what to do. They might order, 100 units or 1,000 units of their inventory, whatever it may be. And you have to also understand a few things that are pretty valuable that you're going to end up learning yourself if you don't pay attention is quality. If you're going to ship 1,000 of anything here, there's a big chance the quality is not up to par. So you have to inspect units, make sure they work, obviously to the extent that you can, without damaging, whatever the newness of the product. But you have to do all these different things, and you have to think, if there's a problem there, you're kind of stuck with the cost. So you're like, well, I'd rather just drop ship then. But then you got to realize, you're just learning more about your actual product when it comes to you, and you see it, you feel it, you're like, oh, this is how I can innovate it. Yeah. And dropshipping, there's no room for innovation, really. You could order the product, but you don't...
You can get your custom... even if you want to do the bare minimum, you can get a really good quality product from, like, Alibaba and just make custom packaging and custom manuals and have a beautiful site. Yeah. And also have really good content, and then you can pretty much dropship a branded product.
Yeah.
Which is, I think that's like my way of doing drop shipping. Like I don't do
Yeah.
it. I don't do it anymore. I don't want to drop ship. I've hung up my jersey, but yeah, like that's really the only way that I see it working.
Yeah, no, 100%. And that's the problem, right? It's out of sight, out of mind. Like, just because you don't see the product doesn't mean customers aren't seeing and feeling whatever it is that's wrong with it. And you know, if you look at any big brand, they continually improve. I mean, the iPhone changes every year. You know, every single big or even mid-grade brand has to change and innovate. So if you think you can just run up a product and have a bunch of issues with that product and just like, oh, I'm just going to close my eyes and secure the bag, problem is you'll get chargebacks, you'll get refunds, and it doesn't matter what your purple Shopify dashboard looks like at that point, because things only come out of your bank account and you have to be able to foot the bill and the tab for it. So if you're going to put a bunch of effort into a brand, you're going to pay for all this content, you're going to do all this stuff, you might as well put your best foot forward if you're going to get into this space. And that's kind of, you know, if you look at Faiz's company, Sweet Dreams, it's literally going to be the biggest CBD company of all time.
Oliver, can you throw the box?
Yeah. Like, out of everybody that I've seen in the e-commerce space, Faiz absolutely murdered it. This should already be a $100 million company, but, you know, Faiz is slowly getting there, and, like, the patience that he has should inspire everybody to really focus, because this has been practically a year in the making just to get packaging design right, the formulation, the supplier of the actual, you know, all natural, like, ingredients, everything to be perfect. And so many people just want to rush and make money. There's plenty other better ways, whether you're doing contracted work for other people or in your job, whatever, to make money that is, you know, linear with your goals. But if you try and just shoot a brand out too quickly and just to try and grab a couple dollars, you're going to get burned. And Faiz didn't do that here. The product's perfect.
No,
the brand is perfect.
I did not rush this at all. If anything, it was delayed for months.
Yeah.
Like,
because you were so paranoid and picky about it.
Like, I had this burning fire inside of me to just want to release it right away. Like, I was like, okay, next week I'll release it. Next week. And then next thing you know, like, there's delays, there's all these issues, everything that could go wrong went wrong. And I was just left here waiting for months, and now, you know, we have it. Now we're having some growing pains. Quite literally, I can't even like speak without it hurting. But yeah, it's very important to have patience.
100%.
You need to have patience.
So yeah, guys, I mean, some of the two biggest things right there, branding and distribution. Obviously, you got to make sure your inventory is on point. You have to have good channels of distribution, whether you fulfill it yourself, which we'll go into later in future videos, or you have a fulfillment center.
We should do a whole video about fulfillment too.
Yeah, because that's huge, right? Because people are paying you, whether they're paying you $50 or $100 or whatever.
We can film behind the scenes for the Sweet Dreams restock.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Because I'm going to get it fulfilled here and then ship after.
Yeah. We could show kind of the whole process of what you can do, whether it's at home and different stuff like that. But keep in mind, there's always going to be problems in business. You could have a perfect plan. It's not always going to work out as planned. And that's why I think the more you have in your own control, like I said in the previous video, really important for you to just kind of put as much as you can in your own control, because you care the most. You are willing to work the hardest. And if you have the time and you don't have as much money, you're better off using your time instead of, you know, the little bit of money that you do have to pay a corporation or whatever. So yeah, stop trying to take the easy way out. Branding's important, obviously distribution. Those two things, if you get those two on lock, you actually you really have a recipe for success. So, but obviously in all of that, stay patient, like we briefly touched on, and you know, things take time. That's just how it is. If you don't want it, just remind yourself of every other brand you've ever seen and realize why they're a real brand. I say this, it's really stupid, but in order to be a 10-year-old brand with that long reputation, you have to be a 10-year-old brand or 5-year-old brand.
You gotta make it 10 years.
Yeah,
the most we've made it is like a year.
Yeah, exactly.
So we don't even know what real business is yet, but you know, if you apply these foundations and you really study them, like these core principles, I promise you don't need to take any course. You don't need to do anything. Literally, it's all applied learning. You can find all the information you need on YouTube. Literally, I'm self-taught on YouTube.
You got to check out Faiz's channel at Faiz is his Instagram, and then channel Faiz Warsani. I'll link it down below.
It'll be linked. But yeah, like just apply these things, and I think you should be good to go from there. Like, just don't fall into the cookie cutter mindset, because you're not going to go anywhere with that. You got to be the black sheep that stands out amongst the crowd of all the white sheep. So
100%.
You know, applying these strategies, it'll help you.
100%. I couldn't agree more. And I think you guys should definitely check out Sweet Dreams. I mean, even if you're not even have never tried CBD or whatever, just for the general knowledge you can gain from looking at such a beautiful brand is honestly worth it. It's worth more.
This is 9 to 10 months of my hard work.
Yeah.
Like, not, I wouldn't say 6 figures invested, but like near there.
Yeah.
And a lot of time and a lot of skills that I've applied to this brand. So
Yeah.
if you want to learn like kind of A to Z, like from my website to buying getting the product, to seeing the emails, to seeing the customer service, to then actually receiving it to your doorstep, and that entire experience, if you can mimic even like half of that, you'll be able to be very successful from the moment you launch your own store.
100%. This guy's dropping all sorts of value. Guys, Faiz is 19 and literally smarter than most fucking 50, 60-year-olds that I know.
I feel like I'm so old right now.
Yeah,
but like,
same.
I'm fucking literally not even 1/4 of life. I'm not even done with 1/4 of my life. So we're just getting started now.
Exactly. So I'm super excited to bring you guys more content like this. You, like I said, have to check out his channel. He's the e-commerce GOAT, or one of them, in my opinion, and has a lot of valuable knowledge. So I'm going to bring him on, obviously, a lot more. We're going to do a lot more video content.
We're here every single day.
Exactly.
Every single day. We got to do a little like a nice office tour or something.
Yeah, for sure. We'll show you guys around the office, stuff like that. You know, we're on the podcast. So whatever you guys want to see or hear, comment down below. Whatever you want to get more detailed into. You know, we don't want to bore you guys, but at the same time, we want to bring you guys practical steps that you can be like, man, I'm glad that he made that real for me so I could actually apply it in my business.
If you guys are coming from my channel, drop some love below.
Yeah, what's up?
I know we've been growing quite fast. 1,000 subs last month alone. Thank you, appreciate it. Subscribe to Kyle too. This guy's a legend in the making.
We're working on it. We're here every day at the office working on it. We want to show you guys the behind the scenes of two, kids. I'm 23, Faiz is 19. Our journey, put Chicago on the map and really, build up our name, Chicago Branding Boys. That's what we're trying to do.
Boys.
Show you guys what's possible. And so my Instagram is at @SULKR_media. His is at FAIZ. If you want to follow us there, and like I said, guys, like this video if you liked it, dislike it if you didn't.
Don't dislike it though.
Don't actually do that. That's a secret.
If you dislike it, then you're fucking rude. Just have a nice day.
Have a nice day, yeah. Subscribe, obviously, for more stuff, and comment down below. It helps the algorithm, and we would love to know what you guys want to actually hear, because that's going to be how we can deliver you the best content possible. So with that being said, guys, I will see you in the next video. Peace.
Bye.